Welcome back to HPL. We saw superjj take a 1-0 lead over Ek0p in a Druid mirror. Now, guys, get out there on Twitter, use the hashtag HPL. Let us know what you thought about that match. What do you think they're going to play ahead of time? And would you have killed that Emperor Thorson? Nathan and I would have liked to see him be a little bit more aggressive, but as we said, it's really hard to make that decision staring down an Emperor.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that you see time and again in pro play, is players using cards that will force their opponent's hand and try to get them into making decisions that they normally don't want to make. I mean, if that's just a 5-5, I don't think there's any chance Ek0p actually kills in that spot. It's a 5-5 that is ramping his mana continuously throughout the course of the game. And that force on that play may have led Ek0p down a path to where he couldn't get initiative back on the board. But game 2 with Ek0p and superjj is getting underway right now.
Yeah, see if Ek0p can recover a little bit and even up this match at 1-1. And ooh, he's bringing out Tempo Mage, a deck we saw used very, very well yesterday.
Yeah, both these guys changed class and you know, their build styles pretty drastically here. Ek0p going for a more tempo-oriented build, and superjj, you know, this is still kind of a mid-range strategy that we've seen, but this deck can come blasting out of the gate sometimes if it gets Flame Imp openers.
Yeah, if you get Flame Imp openers, that's what you're looking for in pretty much every match. You want it. Like I think I compared this to Hybrid Hunter recently. It's got a lot of the aggro aspects of the Warlock decks in it, while still having a really good late game, so it can battle all these decks that are trying to get there in these control decks. And I actually really like this Warlock deck a lot.
Yeah, I think it does super well in early combat. And something else that lines up really well against Flamewakers, you know, we saw yesterday how powerful that card can be, but Imp King Boss can oftentimes be a shutdown as far as Flamewaker is concerned. I mean, it's tough to cast a spell into a minion that will just make 1/1s every time it gets hit by anything.
And Ek0p's got 2 Flamewakers in his opening hand here. We don't know if he's going to mulligan them or not. He's going to mulligan one of them, but that's going to be an interesting stress point in this matchup. If he plays a Flamewaker and then superjj just plays an Imp King Boss, Ek0p's going to have to reevaluate his entire matchup.
Yeah, it's just hunting for the 1-drops here is what superjj was doing. Gets a Voidwalker. Not the best one I think that he could have, but I don't think he's unhappy to see at this point. Pretty much anytime you can get the ball rolling early on is what you want to see. But second Mana Worm picked up from Ek0p. I mean, you want to talk about powerful minions on turn 1. Mana Worm is definitely one of them.
Yeah, getting to coin out the second Mana Worm, getting to pump your first Mana Worm, just a great play. One of my favorite openings in all of Hearthstone.
Yeah, Iron Beak Owl's interesting. I don't necessarily think he's going to utilize it this turn. You know, just checking it to a hero power alone, or even, you know, just leaving your Voidwalker kind of out there to dry is something he has to think about. And at this point, you can already see him thinking about it. This is actually a pretty big turn, believe it or not. It's really going to set the pace. If he chooses to Iron Beak Owl, he's going to be fighting a very mana-heavy battle, which I don't mind because he's got Imp King Boss and Implosion behind this. But at the same time, he is sacrificing a little bit of card advantage here. Now, he had the option to start leveraging his life total very early, pick up those extra options. But you can see here with an opening like Double Mana Worm, he's very concerned with keeping the board under control.
Yeah, he's going to want to keep the board under control because his hand, you know, he's got a Power Overwhelming that's not going to do a whole lot over the next couple turns because he's probably going to lose both his minions here this turn. Ek0p's going to use a hero power and then just attack into the Voidwalker. So he really, really needs to get on this board in a big way in the next couple turns because he's going to start to really fall behind.
Yeah, Imp King Boss already going to be checked here as well. When he drops this down, he's got Sorcerer's Apprentice and Flame Cannon to back this right up. Use the Silenced Mana Worm to pick off the token and then keep himself a 2-1 on board. So he's going to have a very early board lead here, but it's going to be a matter of whether or not Implosion can take care of the board position. And with that Mirror Image pickup, Flamewaker Mirror Image next turn is going to be a massive swing against that Implosion.
Yeah, we saw this yesterday at a lot of the Tempo Mage decks. If they ever get early minions to stick and then they're allowed to start to one for one you from here, this is where it happens. This is where it snowballs downhill all the way from here. It's going to be really bad. He's going to pick off the 1/1 Imp here with the Silenced Mana Worm, then get in for 2 more with his other Mana Worm. Things are going way. Oh, that is a pretty big draw in this spot.
That's about one of the best ones I think that was. You know, that's card we don't always
see the grin from superjj.
Yeah, we don't always see that in these Warlock strategies when they have Imp King Boss and Void Colors in here. But the fact that he has this Hellfire in here, kind of speaking to the idea that he doesn't know exactly what Ek0p's going to play, but he anticipates he could potentially play something that's on the more aggressive side. That's exactly what we see from Ek0p too. That Hellfire, man, that was such a punishing turn, but Ek0p able to fire right back. Flamewalker and 2/0 taunts.
Yeah, it was a really punishing turn, but you see that Ek0p gets to develop his board very, very well. Gets a Flamewaker, gets to get in 2 damage, and he's even got an Arcane Intellect and an Unstable Portal behind him. Now, only 2 imps, that's not what he wanted to see because Ek0p is going to fire off a lot of stuff here from this Flamewaker this turn.
Yeah, I have to believe he's going to Unstable Portal first and kind of evaluate this. Wants to get the attack in, though. He doesn't want to deal too much damage to this Void Color. Say that you know, the missiles went towards that Void Color, he would actually be overkilling it in that spot. Picks up a 3/5 off of it, but he's going to go ahead and wait a little bit longer. He wants to make sure he gets his Arcane Intellect in, picks up some more options potentially. Nope, he's going to go for the 3/5. I personally like the development.
Yeah, I like the 3/5 here. You're going to play a 3/5, get the body on board, use your hero power to clear out this imp. You know what? This is a great turn from Ek0p here, and if you look over at superjj's hand, it is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, no action right now, and Defender of Argus is not going to provide the pressure you need whatsoever, and neither is Dr. Boom. superjj has zero plays on his turn 6. That is a disaster for him. And a second Flamewaker picked up for Ek0p.
Big draw for Ek0p
Arcane
here.
Intellect's now 4 extra damage is being sent to the dome. And look at that, 9 more points of damage picked up in straight burn. But this game is, I mean, this is basically over at this point.
I think this game is actually over here. superjj, he can play this antique heal bot here, gain up 8 life, but Ek0p's going to have too much burns, and yeah, this Dr. Boom's not going to be able to soak up enough.
These
Ek0p's
boom
going to be able
bots are
to
going to have
fireball.
to do some major work.
He's going to be able to fireball and frostbolt here. It's going to be way too much. I mean, he's going to get in the
Now,
attacks first. What a
yeah.
smart play by Ek0p here.
Sequencing was the only way that Ek0p had a chance to lose this game. Had he potentially sequenced poorly, I still don't even, was it 12 life was superjj? Yeah, there was no way Ek0p could lose that game. Kind of take a look at everything that happened. 9 points of burn in hand and then 3 more from the Alchemy Soul Priest. So even if he got perfect rolls in the boom bots, still wasn't able to win that game. So despite the fact that he drew that Hellfire, the reload with Flamewaker and then the mirror image behind it, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to be adding against a deck that's trying to fight against you 1-for-1 in terms of the cards, and then use its hero power and leverage its life total to make up for that card advantage and then make the push towards the later end of the game. And then, of course, the absolute dreadful turn from superjj on turn 6. Hero power, no play.
Yeah, hero power pass, not your ideal turn 6 in any deck, especially not the Warlock deck when you're facing down a lot of minions. Now, you saw Ek0p come out to a very quick start with his Tempo Mage deck there. We saw a lot of this yesterday, and you know what? These Tempo Mage decks have just looked great here in the last couple of days. Whenever they're able to get an early minion in play, or 2 or 3 like Ek0p had going, and then play a ton of spells behind that, those Arcane Intellects were just devastating.
Yeah, I mean, really the way we see that deck be offset so far is when their opponent consistently plays one threat that they have to deal with at every step of the way, and they're not able to couple that with development. When they can couple it with development, that's really where you see the disaster strike, and that's exactly what Ek0p had in that game.
Yeah, if you want to check out those 2 decks, I mean, the Tempo Mage decks we talked about from today and yesterday, you can do that on PvP Live. You can see what the players played, how they built their deck, and you know what? Maybe get some ideas for your own version of it at home. So when we get back, we're going to have Game 3 between superjj and Ek0p. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.